Yo guys, it's Slyroh. You already know that today I'm bringing you guys my battle for Week 6 of the Pokemon Premier League. This is Division 2, Season 4. This week we are taking on the amazing Chi and his Newcrustle United after a week break that we had last week, hence why there was no battle. And as you can see in front of you, I am actually going to be doing a little bit of a team builder before the battle, so if you do not care about what team I am bringing, you can go ahead and just skip to the battle. I'll either leave a timestamp or you can just do what I do and just keep fast forwarding through the video until you get to something that isn't showdown, because that's the battle. So that's what I do, but if I am nice and if I remember, I will leave a timestamp in the description. However, I don't plan on this being that long, so but I did have some time, being that I had 2 weeks to to find time to record this, so I decided to do a team builder. But again, it's just lumped in with the battle. I want to give you an update on, well, let's see. To come into this week, we are in 9th place, I believe, after our very narrow win last week. And she is in 2nd place, I believe. So this is really going to be a match that really sets the tone for the rest of the season. It really determines whether we really get a chance to push forward or whether we are just going to be kind of settled from middle of the pack to bottom. So this is the match that really is going to decide that, and she has a very, very scary team. However, before we go into his team and to my team, I do want to bring up both the teams so that way you can see the fact that I did make a transfer, and I do want to talk a little bit about this. I dropped Manaphy for my first transfer, and I got Slowbro and Skuntank. The reason for this being that the one thing I don't like about the team that I was given with the Livwurmple FC, that is the team I'm representing, probably should have said that earlier, is there's no reliable recovery on anything. So I didn't like that there's no walls, and I didn't like that the team could get very easily whittled down over time. And Slowbro pairs up well with Tornadus T for the Regenerator core, gives me a reliable recovery and slack off, as well as a bulky water and regenerator. Slowbro gives me a lot of stuff in a water type that Manaphy wasn't going to give me. Manaphy was just going to give me, if I wanted to be defensive, it didn't have recovery, and if I wanted to be offensive, it was basically filling a sort of specially offensive role that something like Miss Magis can also kind of fill to a lesser degree. So I didn't feel like I needed both on the team, despite the fact that Manaphy was my all Z move user. I could set up Z rain dances and stuff like that. I'm just not very good with setup, so it wasn't that useful to me. Being able to use all the Z moves, I probably wasn't going to bring them that much. I mean, obviously I brought the Water Z, Waterium Z, whatever, for the only game that it showed up to. But besides that, I probably wasn't going to do anything super fancy. So I think Slowbro is a much better fit, and with the extra 6 points, I decided to get Skuntank because there is no... I wanted another Defogger. There was also no Dark type. And for a cheap 6 points, I figured that it would fill both of those roles. There was also no Poison type, so nothing to soak up Toxic Spikes, which now I have. Also, Slowbro fulfills a Psychic type, which is another thing that wasn't on this team. This team is really lacking a lot of good types that are... I find to be pretty much essential to a good draft league team. So I'm doing my best to make it work. I do have a couple transfers left that I can try and use to make this more my team, which I will probably use. But let's go ahead and talk about my team for this week and against Chi. So as you can see, Chi's whole team consists of Skarmory, Kieran Black, Florges, Delmise, Crocodile, Electros, Tentacruel, Excelgor, Delphox, Ambipom, and Boldore, which is a pretty scary team. He's got a lot of fast stuff that is... hurt. He has a lot of owl things that are hurt. Kieran Black, Crocodile, Delphox are really hard-hitting mons. And then there's really annoying mons to deal with, such as Electros and even Tentacruel to an extent, because it actually does well against a decent chunk of my team. So I will have to watch out for any shenanigans using that. But that's the team that I'm going up against. Thankfully, he can only bring 6 of those because I'm scared of about 9 of them. Maybe even 10 of them. Yeah, something like that. So, let's go ahead and talk about the team that I am bringing. And again, I will make this quick, and then we can get on to the battle, unless you've already skipped it, then whatever. So I'm bringing Defensive Rotom Heat, Max HP, Max Defense, Volt Switch Will, Overheat, Pain Split. This was not the set that was here all the time. I just knew Rotom Heat had to show up because Skarmory. The switches into Skarmory all day, every day, and is really good for momentum. It ended up being max defense because I kind of figured out I don't really have a great switch into Ambipom, and so Rotom Heat acts as that. It can also take hits from Crocodile if need be. I don't want to be switching into like too many hits, but it is his one switch into Volt Switch, so if I switch in on Skarmory and then I go for Volt Switch and he switches in Crocodile to stop that, I have no trouble staying in to get off a Will-O-Wisp or damage depending on what the range he's at, and or even a Pain Split, and you know, dealing with it from there. So I don't mind staying in on Crocodile if I need to, and Dhelmise works as for Dhelmise, so that's why it's physically defensive. Because even without the offensive investment, Overheat still does a good chunk of damage to a lot of his team. To pair that up with is going to be Registeel, which is very interesting. Part of the reason why I wanted to show you a team builder, because some of my EV spreads are a little questionable. But this is max HP, 92 Spadef Calm, with 164 speed. That's enough to outspeed an uninvested Skarmory, because I feel like Skarmory can come in on most Registeels pretty easily, and he could hazard stack. He could set up if he wants to be cheeky, whirling me away, like whatever he's trying to do. I'm mostly scared of like the hazard stack, because my hazard remover is Donphan, and yes, it can rapid spin against Skarmory, but Skarmory versus Donphan 1v1, Skarmory's going to win that. So I don't want Skarmory coming in for free and just setting up like a bunch of hazards. And Thunderbolt is a chance to 2 KO if it's physically defensive. And I outspeed, that way he can't just roost stall me, because like if he roosts and then I Thunderbolt, it doesn't do that much. Then he can set up a hazard as I Thunderbolt, and then he's below half. And then he just roosts up as I try and Thunderbolt, and you get the idea. It wins the 1v1 if it's just trying to hazard stack, and then could maybe potentially Whirlwind away or something like that. So that is why I decided to go with Thunderbolt, and because I went Thunderbolt, I also decided to go Flash Cannon. Flash Cannon also does a little bit more damage to the Kieran Black, which is what this is a switch into. Sugar Berry just ensures that I don't take a lot of damage from Earth Power from Kieran Black, and I can definitely live too, and yeah, so, and if I come in on anything that's not Earth Power and then he, you know, is like a Life Orb or something, then switches it up, I can get big damage off with Flash Cannon. Toxic is also good. Toxic is going to be good because Dhelmise can come in pretty freely, I believe. There's some other mons that I feel like can come in on Registeel, and then this is my Stealth Rock Setter. If I'm able to get Rocks up, that would be fantastic. It's going to be a little hard, and he does have like 2 Rapid Spinners on top of Skarmory being a Defogger, and I think that's it, but that's still a lot. So it's going to be, it's not my priority, but if I can get them up, that would be fantastic, but we're just going to have to see how the match plays out. Moving on, I'm going to be bringing Assault Vest Tapu Bulu again. This one's going to have more speed investment. 204 speed is enough to outspeed an uninvested Tentacruel that I think has a chance to OHKO with Woodhammer. Like, Tapu Bulu is ridiculous. So that's what the basically max attack Adamant is, just to make sure the HPs are, the HP things are odd or whatever. I have Nature's Madness because Skarmory is a switch into any sort of Bulu every day of the week, pretty much. I think maybe if I banded Bulu, I might be able to do something, but Assault Vest is better. It ensures something that can come in on Florges easily. I can come in on Florges and I can get off damage right away. Instead of like Rotom Heat can come in on Florges, but then isn't able to get off a lot of damage. This ensures something that can get off damage. Nature's Madness is for the inevitable Skarmory switch-in. Skarmory can switch in on Tapu Bulu pretty much, you know, every day of the week, and then if he's at lower health, I could potentially take him out with a superpower, but he has to be pretty low for that. And then Woodhammer, Hornleech as my last 2 moves. Woodhammer to do damage, and Hornleech to get myself health back if I'm able to. So yeah, with the Assault Vest, I can also live other moves. If I'm at full health, I can take a hit from Kieran Black, which I'm kind of scared of because Kieran Black can kind of run through my team, so I need to make sure that I do everything in my power to not let it do that. So there's that. So that is Tapu Bulu. Let's go ahead on to Donphan. It's going to be physically defensive also. This is my Crocodile switching, you know, one of them. I'm very terrified of Crocodile because that is another thing that could potentially run through my team. Also, I do want to point out, with this, the Crocodile could run Sludge Bomb, and with the Assault Vest, it still is a 2 KO, but I am going to live it. It does like 51 to 61%, and that is if he brings it. He might bring Sludge Bomb, not expecting me to expect it, but I do know about that, so I'm going to make sure that I don't get caught off guard with that, which is good. So again, like if Crocodile comes in and I get a clean switch into Bulu or something like that, and he thinks he can take me out, I have the Assault Vest that like can help me live, and then I can just get all my health back with Hornleech, things like that. So that's really good. But on to Donphan, it's physically defensive because Crocodile can't do a lot of damage to it. Yes, it will win like 1v1, most likely, but not before I get off either Toxic, or I can knock off its item, or Rapid Spin rocks away if Crocodile ends up being his Stealth Rocker, and Earthquake for damage. So that's what Donphan's doing this week, and I think it'll be okay. Also, knockoff can hit the inevitable spin blocking Delmise. Earthquake hits the Tentacle, and so Donphan's just generally going to be annoying, and hopefully can stay up long enough to Rapid Spin if he does try and Hazard Stack me with Skarmory. Then I have Tornadus Therian, which is going to be holding a Steelium Z because it is one of my Z move users. 244 HP, the 212 speed Timid is 2 outspeed. Oh boy, Ambipom, pretty sure. That would be the thing that makes sense. Probably Ambipom. With 52 defense EVs, that makes it bulky. This is a switch into Crocodile also. Because if he has knockoff, he cannot knock off my Z Crystal, which is really good. And that does mean that I have to hit like Hurricanes to be able to do a lot of damage to him. But U-Turn can also get me some good momentum and get me into something such as a Rotom Heat or a Donphan, or something like that, while being able to generate my health back. Also have the Iron Tail for the Florges, and with the Steelium Z, that does, for mostly physically defensive one, I think it still does like 70%, something like that. That's with the Timid Nature and this like minus and everything like that. I didn't want to go down on any defenses, and special attacks hit everything else, such as Heat Wave to KO Skarmory, and Hurricane just does a lot of damage. So that's what Torn T is for. It can switch on Crocodile, and if it's at enough health, it might be, I don't want to say that. I don't think I can take a hit from Cure Black. But if I'm faster, then Iron Tails can do a lot to that also. So it depends on if he's scarfed or not. And then I ended up bringing Slowbro as my last mon instead of something else. This kept getting tossed up between a lot of different things. Skuntank was almost here. Goodra was almost here. And I don't know if there's anything else that I really considered. What else is on my team? I mean, Girder, kind of. His Magius actually was really close to coming if I wanted to go a little bit more offensive, but I really just decided that I needed some more switch-ins. And Slowbro can also help in other ways. So this is max HP, essentially, with enough special defense investment to not get OHKO'd by a Life Orb Kieran Black Draco Meteor, which does more than a Bolt Strike. So, especially with my, 180 defense investment. So, I mean, I guess unless he's max attack, I don't remember, but I'm pretty sure Draco Meteor invested does more than like Bolt Strike invested. So, plus a special Kieran Black does more, like Ice Beam, Ice Beam, Ice Beam, Earth Power, and then Draco Meteor. Kieran Black really does run through my team. So, that is to help me live that, and I can get off a Trick Room. If I get off a Trick Room and, it's Life Orbed, everything outslows Kieran Black except for the 20, and if he's Scarfed, then everything would outslow. And I can do damage, Flash Cannon, Wood Hammer, Overheats, or just burn it and get some residual damage. Donphan not as much, Earthquake a little bit, but that's going to be like 1. But if I really just need to get off some damage, that is what this is for. That's why the Trick Room is there, and then Slack Off. That could also be useful against other mons also, but I will be very careful. I don't plan on clicking Trick Room unless I need to use it to kill the Kieran Black, or maybe a Delphox that's getting out of control. Depends, because that, if I get Trick Room, and then like Scald a Delphox or something like that, and then if he kills me, then I just have Donphan's Earthquake or something like that. So that is what this is for. Another switch in, also the Cobra Berries, just to, if I get trapped in with Crocodile, I don't have to fear Pursuit, I don't have to fear Knockoff. I really can pretty much beat it 1v1, so yeah, that is the plan. That is my pretty bulky team with not a lot of offense, but I really think that it'll work against Chi, because he doesn't have too much that has reliable recovery, unless he Wish Passes a lot with Forges, which I'm hoping to prevent. And besides that, I think we'll be okay. So let me know what you think about my team, and I will see you in the battle in about 5 seconds. Alright, so we are here at the battle. I just told you all the sets that I'm bringing to this match, so there's no need to go over them again. As you can see, Chi brought Crocodile, Delmise, Electros, Delphox, Cheer Black and Skarmory, so very scary stuff. He did not bring Tentacruel, which means that Dumb-Eyes is most likely his Rapid Spinner. He did not bring Ambipom, which is fine, or Boldore, or like 2 other things that I am forgetting. Florges was a big one, which was cool. And something else that is probably irrelevant. Probably not, but yeah. Either way, so you know what I'm bringing, you know what he's bringing, and let's go ahead and just get into the match. This is a very important battle, but you guys already heard my thought process going into this battle, and if you didn't, basically it was, we're gonna try our best. So, he starts off with the Crocodile. I start off with the Rotom Heat, pretty easily. I took about 10 seconds in deciding what my lead was going to be. I saw that team, and I saw Rotom Heat was a good matchup against everything. I have this clean matchup against Crocodile, and I said that if I have the clean, like, matchup against Crocodile, I will go for the Will-O-Wisp 100% of the time. Which is what I decided to do. He switches out, does not want to get burned, and he makes a fantastic play. Goes into Delphox because it cannot be burned because it's already on fire somewhere within its soul, so it can't have more. I decided to go for the Volt Switch. I don't have great switch-ins to this, so I just decided to take the hit with the Rotom and Volt Switch on out of there. And as I made this play, I was already thinking that it was a mistake, but we will get into why. So I go on to Slowbro, making his debut. Fantastic, but Shadow Ball is not going to hurt me, but this is one of his Z Crystal uses, and as I hit Scald, I was just like, holy crap, he could go for a Z move right now. It has a chance to take me out from full, but it isn't guaranteed, and it's actually a roll in my favor to live. But thankfully, he switches out, makes me think maybe he doesn't have it. I don't know, still not 100% sure, so either way, the Dumb-Eyes is in. We didn't get the Scald Burn, very unfortunate. I figure that my best switch-in is into Tornadus. If he Will-O-Wisps me, which I believe it gets, I probably should have done more research on Dumb-Eyes, but if it does get that, Tornadus could afford to get burned, and all of its other moves weren't going to take out Tornadus unless it was, like, super offensive, like Phantom Force type deal, which we would have dealt with, but with that Energy Ball, I knew that he is not. I went for the Hurricane. I hit the Hurricane. Fantastic. Do damage to the Electros, and it is not Assault Vested, so right now I'm not entirely sure what it is. I decided to go for the U-turn because even if this thing were to be Scarfed, it would not outspeed me. But I do think that it is max HP, and we find out with the U-turn that it is Rocky Helmet. And I make a little bit of a play. I go into Donphan thinking that he has to Volt Switch. He has to Volt Switch on the Tornadus. That's obviously U-turning. But he didn't. Seeing that knockoff, I know he's not offensive, so I'm thinking with the Rocky Helmet, he could be some sort of physically defensive variant, so even if he goes for the Giga Drain, it shouldn't do that much, but it does a ton. And I actually didn't get his Electros set, but it makes me think that this is some sort of max HP, max special attack, Rocky Helmet. I don't know what this Electros was doing, but it was so annoying to take all that Giga Drain damage. I essentially thought that he was going to be maybe all physical, like defensive, have the Aqua Tail. I thought Aqua Tail was definitely a bring with the Rotom Heat and Donphan, but that didn't happen, and I just lost a lot of health on Donphan, which really sucks. I should have went into Bulu before. I know I didn't want its item to get knocked off, but I really should have just came in on the Giga Drain. He reveals the Flamethrower, and as you can see, it is going to do a lot, but it is not going to be a 2KO. Especially with the grassy terrain, so I'm good with that. Unfortunately, this kind of forces me into Hornleech, which was a misplay, because I know that every day of the week, if I am outspeeding, he's going to switch into Skarmory. There's no reason he does not switch into Skarmory, so I should be going for Nature's Madness every single day of the week, but I didn't. I went for Hornleech. Very stupid play. I wanted that health back. I was getting greedy, but either way, we have a Skarmory in here now, which is a little bit annoying, but my Rotom is still at pretty good health, and I said coming into this battle that if the Skarmory is, gets in against me, then I will switch into Rotom because then I have a lot of options from there. So, I am going to do just that as we wait for the game to catch up, as I believe he goes for the Toxic, which was a very good play. Possibly switching into Registeel would have been good, but I didn't want to reveal the kind of Registeel set that I had at this point in time. So a Toxic Rotom is okay. There can be worse things, but there can definitely be better things, especially since Rotom is not getting the Grassy Terrain recovery. It is definitely going to get worn down, which is very annoying. So I have another decision to make. Will-O-Wisp is, I really don't want him to get a free switch into Crocodile, which is why I believe I Will-O-Wisp here, and I do. but he had a pretty safe switch into the Electros. I thought about overheating to get damage off on whatever came in, and it would have OHKO'd the Skarmory, but I didn't. I just went for the Will-O-Wisp. So again, I get wrong on that play. So it is what it is. Electros is going to take a little bit more damage with the poison, and at this point, I am ready for Electros to be done. So I just go for the overheat, and I get off a lot of damage. I know it's not going to kill, but it is going to do a lot, and a lot it does. But unfortunately, that means that he's going to get off some more damage. He did go for the knockoff, so it's good that well, I guess I had leftovers. I could have sacked off maybe the down fan or something, but I don't know. I just felt that Rotom, as long as it was alive, could potentially still put in work against the Skarmory if I get a clean switch, and I was hoping that the overheat plus the toxic might take it out. Right here I should have went for the Volt Switch, but I didn't want him to get the free switch into Crocodile, so I go for another overheat. It would have done about 30% to the Crocodile, which would have been something, but overheat was probably my worst play there. I should have just Volt Switched, or I should have just straight switched out, and that was definitely a misplay on my part. At this point, Rotom is, like, no point in keeping it alive. I could potentially Pain Split later in the match if I got the right matchup, but I didn't think I was going to be able to pull that off, so I kind of sack it off. Was it the best play? I don't know. Either way, we're going to go into Tornado's T because he can only outspeed me if he's Scarfed, and if he's Scarfed in Shadow Ball, which is fine with me. So knowing that he's definitely switching out, I'm going to U-turn, and Torn-T is going to get its kill on this Electros that he sacks off, which was a good play on his part. So at this point, I really don't know what I want to send in, because anything I send in is going to bait out something. The thing I don't want to bait out is the Delphox, but I feel like everything that I send out baits in the Delphox. So I decided that Tapu Bulu is a good send in. There's also a chance that if he is timid, the Flamethrower from Delphox will not take me out because I am Assault Vested, and I think if he was Modest, I think it might have been a roll. I couldn't quite tell with the calc, but he just goes into Skarmory, and this is when I go into Ready Steel because Rotom's dead, so I kind of need to find other switch-ins for it. I could have went into this, I could have went into Torn-T, it really depended. I didn't think he was going to stand, so I actually go for the Stealth Rocks. I go for my own Stealth Rocks this turn, which is cool. I don't usually get up Stealth Rocks. Right as he goes into the Crocodile, I thought he was going to switch into the Dhelmise and Rapid Spin, but he did not. He goes right into the Crocodile, and I don't have much to do a lot. Flash Cannon, again, I mean, can do, I think it was 28 to 33% was the roll on an offensive Crook, which I think this is. I didn't actually find this set out either. If you want to know what cheese sets are, watch his video for sure. His links are in the description. But I just sack off Donphan. Donphan was brought as my Crocodile switch in. I wasted it on a misprediction on the Electros, and unfortunately I really let Donphan down, and really that was just, it was misplayed all the way. So he goes for the knockoff, and I go into Tapu Bulu, which immediately I regret, because if he has Sludge Bomb, it will be able to take me out from this range. So I'm just going to hope for the best, because I have already committed to coming in with Tapu Bulu, even though it was a mistake. And he goes into the Skarmory again, which I knew he was going to go into if he switched out. So I don't know why I Horn Leech there. I should have just went for the Nature's Madness. So it is a rough game. If you guys can't tell already, this was a rough game, and we are getting semi towards the end. Let's go ahead and let him do his thing. At this point, I pretty much know that I'm going to lose this game, just the way that everything has turned out, and the Pokemon that he has left compared to the Pokemon that I have left. So I'm just going for damage on as much as I can right now. I go for the Nature's Madness just to get rid of half, hoping that maybe he'd be in range for Superpower, but he's still a little too high. Superpower isn't going to kill him. He goes for the Iron Head, does a lot, which really sucks, and at this point he either needs to Roost to stay healthy, or he needs to attack me. I can keep going for Nature's Madnesses, but at most I leave this with him being at 50%, and more likely than not I'm going to miss a Nature's Madness at some point, and then he is at full, and it's no fun. So there's no point in that, so I go into Torn-T, the next best thing I have that can do damage to Skarmory with a Heat Wave. I do go for the predictable Heat Wave, even though I was pretty sure he was going to switch out. He has a full health Skarmory. Tapu Bulu is still alive, so he probably wants to save it. Didn't really take that into consideration. I just wanted to attack what was in front of me. So I do go for that Heat Wave, and the Crocodile comes in. takes this heat wave pretty well. Let's go ahead and watch it play out. And again, I'm just trying to get damage on as many things as I can. Plus, I don't think that I'm in a range for him to take me out. Plus, I want to figure out if he is scarfed. He is not scarfed. We go for another hurricane, and we hit. That is 2 out of 2 hurricanes hit, and we confuse. Where there is hacks, there is a way. This game is not over yet, and he breaks through confusion, goes for the knockoff. If I had an item, that would kill, but my item is a Z-Crystal, so the crit does not kill. It also did a lot because it was a crit. Which was just kind of rubbing salt in the wound at this point. I kind of assumed that I was just losing at this point. So anything on top of that was just, like, irritating. At this point in the battle, I was very, very angry. And not at anything in particular, but just angry. So, but we will get into that. I decided to U-turn as he came into whatever, and I just go into the red steel, which, even though I build it to 1v1 the Skarmory, in a sense it's not going to unless he lets that. And as you'll see right here, I go for the Thunderbolt as he switches out, which sucks, because like even if I go for the Thunderbolt and he stays in, I don't know, then he just switches out, he knows what I'm going to go for, and he has plenty of switches in. So I go for the Thunderbolt. Unfortunately, it does not do that much to Delphox, and figure he's going to go for a fire move, and I just sack off Tapu Bulu because I feel like Reggie Steel is still important if I want to just get anything back. At this point, Reggie Steel is still alive to deal with the Karen Black, as well as Slowbro is still alive at this point to also deal with the Karen Black. So that's kind of the main thing. I needed things for the Karen Black. That's why Tapu Bulu was sacked off here. But at this point, I'm pretty sure that I can, actually, I made a misplay here. I should have went into Torrent right here. But instead, I go into the Slowbro, and I take rocks damage, and that rocks damage is going to be what really sets it over the edge, because here it is. The Z move that I was scared of the first time, I don't have an explanation for this. He goes for the Never-Ending Nightmare. It turns out he is Modest Delphox. This was a 100% chance to kill. And, yeah, let's just go ahead and live this Never-Ending Nightmare, which is pretty much this game in a nutshell, is a Never-Ending Nightmare for me. That Slowbro just goes down, which is really sad. And it was a crit, which, again, does not matter, but still, rubbing salt in the wound. And he gets the extra turn of Grassy Terrain, whatchamacallit, which is why I should have done this in the first place. I guess I was scared that he could be Scarfed, but at this point, I didn't really have much to lose, so I go for the U-turn, and let's just cry together, because this U-turn should kill, and doesn't. That has to be 1 HP. There's no way that's not 1 HP. Even if I watch the side of the match, and it turns out it's not, I'm not convinced that's not 1 HP. So, I only have one Pokemon left. That is Registeel. Registeel is taking this Flamethrower to the face, if Registeel even has a face. I guess those 6 dots are face, 7 dots, whatever. And it's dead. Another crit. That one might have mattered, but in the grand scheme of things, it didn't, because I switched it in, which means he could have gone for another Flamethrower if that crit did matter, and then, you know, he still kills the Registeel. So now I go back into Torrent, and again, I go for a U-turn that, like, I really felt was going to take him out the first time, but it didn't. So, now we go for the U-turn, and this thing is dead. So at this point, I'm assuming that, well, he has a number of things that could work. But he goes into Karen Black. I'm assuming the Karen Black is Scarfed and is just going to take me out with the Ice Beam here. So for the walls, I'm going to go ahead and finish this battle with style. Let's go ahead, Torrent, show off your moves, and hit that Corkscrew Crash. Let's go. We're not losing this game in style. We're not going out without a fight. There was a 0% chance of this killing, unless I got a crit. But I guess if I got a crit, who knows what could have happened? Because I don't think he had any Scarfers, but I don't think I Oko everything that's left on his team. So he still would have won, but still. Look at that. That's awesome. I'm Corkscrew Crashing a Karen Black. Look at it spin around in circles. It doesn't know what's happening to him. It is getting drilled left, right, on top. It's crazy. But he lives, goes for Ice Beam, and that's the end of the game. So that's, yeah. That's a 4-0 loss. And it's very, very heartbreaking. Very heartbreaking. Like I said, I was very angry in this match because I felt that my prep was not great. I felt that I wasn't making the right plays. I felt that the game plan I had coming in, I was abandoning it halfway through. and I was really angry. But by the end of the game, I kind of remembered, during team building, I kind of figured that this is going to be a tough road. So he has a lot of crazy things that I just don't have great switch-ins to. I don't have great switch-ins to Delphox. I don't have great ways to deal with Electros, Kieran Black, Crocodile even to an extent. There was so many things to prep for that I just did not have the switch-ins for. And the offense, same thing. I don't have offensive mons that sweep through his whole team. Even something like Tapu Bulu, he had a consistent switch into Skarmory every time. Torty wasn't strong enough to take out things the way that I needed to. Also, it wasn't offensive, so that played a part into it also. But there wasn't a lot of options in team building, defensively or offensively. And when it comes to the play, I made a couple misplays, but in the end, that was probably going to happen regardless. It didn't look like Donphan was going to be able to fulfill its role that it was going to. Slyroh obviously didn't fulfill the role that it was going to. Maybe under-prepped for Delphox a little bit. I thought about bringing the Scarf to Miss Magus, which looked like it could have maybe helped this game. But, alas, these are the decisions that we make and live with. And I also have to remember that this isn't a team that I put together. This is a team that I inherited from somebody else, and it's a team that I don't like all the pieces of. I don't like the way it meshes together, because I don't think it meshes well. But I am going to make a couple more adjustments to this team, and I'm going to make the best of it, and I'm basically just going to play for the experience. There is a very, very small chance that I would be able to make a promotion spot at this point. I would have to win out, but we're just going to try and win as many games as we can and just go from there. Chi played amazingly. He brought a great team, and I just had nothing for it, so props to him. He is in at least second place, maybe first even. I have no idea. Go check out his battle, and I'm sure you can find out, or we can wait till next week when, yeah, maybe we'll put out the standings or something like that. But that being said, that is going to be my the end of the ramblings for this match. So if you guys did enjoy, let me know, and we'll see you next week for week 7 of the PPL when we take on Ellie and the Accrington Stantler. So that's going to be lots of fun. I haven't played Ellie since Season 1 of Division 1, the OG PPL season. So that's going to be really fun. But until then, guys, thanks for watching, and stay sly.